Yes.
Did you ever mention to Justin that you like the Beatles?
Sure.
What did he do?
He bought me the box set.
You never asked him for it?
I never asked him for anything.
That's nice. What did you do when Justin got a C in chemistry?
I told him he'd never get into a good college with C's.
What did he do?
He studied his butt off and got an A.
And that made you happy?
Sure.
He'd do anything to make you happy. Isn't that correct?
What's going on here? I was a good father. Justin does well in school. He's not on drugs or in a gang. He's a good kid because of me.
And he owed you big time for that.
Justin doesn't owe me anything. I love him.
You do anything for him?
That's right.
And he'd do anything for you?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Justin may have been abused, but abuse in and of itself doesn't negate intent as defined in the penal code. The abuse in Justin's case may have affected his personality, but it certainly didn't cause any mental defect that would have prevented him from knowing right from wrong.
Abused? Did Mr. Capshaw hit the defendant?
No, but emotional abuse can be sufficient to cause battered child syndrome.
Battered child syndrome, is that the equivalent of battered wife syndrome, Doctor?
Yes.
Isn't it true that battered wife syndrome is often a valid defense to a charge of murder?
Of course, but in those cases, the wife kills the person who's doing the battering. Justin killed people with whom he had no personal contact.
Would you say that Justin was dependent on Herman Capshaw?
He felt he was.
More so than in the normal father-son relationship?
Because of their total isolation from the rest of society, I'd have to say yes.
So if something or someone threatened the well-being of Mr. Capshaw, how would that affect Justin?
It would feel like a direct threat to him as well.
And he'd feel compelled to protect himself?
I couldn't say.
If I pointed a gun at you, Dr. Olivet, wouldn't you try to shoot me before I shot you?
I suppose.
Of course you would.
If you tell anyone that his family is dead, that he'll never see them again, it certainly causes trauma.
And if that someone is a 5-year-old child, Dr. Diamond, how would he be affected?
It would be devastating. He would attach himself emotionally to the next caring person he came into contact with.
And that's why Justin became totally dependent on Mr. Capshaw?
The boy had no choice but to land in a symbiotic relationship with Mr. Capshaw.
You said he had no choice, Doctor.
That is correct. He would do whatever it takes to protect that relationship.
Even kill?
Yes.
You're saying the defendant had no choice in the shooting of Mr. Rodriguez. Is that correct?
Yes.
What about the other people?
I don't know what you mean.
He killed 3 other innocent people. People who were no threat to him or to Mr. Capshaw. How do you explain that?
In his mind, it was necessary to protect...
Please, he chose to try to get away with his crime. Isn't that so?
You can't get me to say anything bad about Dad.
I wouldn't think of it. The man gave you everything.
That's right.
You are what you are today because of him.
He didn't make me shoot those people, if that's what you're getting at.
But he did teach you to shoot.
He was rated an expert marksman in the Marines. We went hunting together.
What did Mr. Capshaw tell you about Charlie Rodriguez?
He said he was a jerk. He was always picking on Dad. But Dad couldn't do anything because Charlie was the boss.
Was Dad worried about losing his job?
He said they went over budget on the site. Somebody had to go. He knew Charlie would pick him.
And then what would happen?
We'd end up without money, or food, or a place to live.
And that's why you shot Charlie Rodriguez?
Dad worked hard his whole life. This jerk was going to ruin him.
And you couldn't let that happen?
I love him. He loves me.
Thank you.
Tell me about Amy Lane.
Who?
She's the first person you killed.
I didn't know her.
Nice lady. She had a daughter. Just 8 months old. How about Larry Spelling?
We get counsel's point, Your Honor. The defense is willing to stipulate the defendant shot 3 people at random.
Move on, Mr. McCoy.
What's the worst thing that could have happened if Charlie Rodriguez had fired Mr. Capshaw?
We could end up homeless. The government could come and take me away.
And that scared you?
Yes.
So you didn't shoot Charlie Rodriguez to help Mr. Capshaw. You did it for yourself.
Huh?
Your attorney has been arguing that you shot these people out of some compulsion to protect Mr. Capshaw. But the truth is, you were only thinking about yourself. Isn't that so?
No. Dad would come and get me. We're a family. Not like them. He loves me. He would come and get me.
Have you reached a verdict?
We have.
How do you find?
We find the defendant, Justin Lafferty, not guilty by reason of mental defect.